If you live in the US and work for a living, or you're thinking about starting a family, you need to know about the Earned Income Tax Credit, or EITC, and the Child Tax Credit, or CTC. The EITC is basically a cashback bonus for low to moderate income workers. Then there's the CTC, which gives parents a financial break just for keeping tiny humans alive. $2,000 per kid, although only up to $1,600 is refundable. Let's talk about these crucial tax policies that are designed to keep working families healthy, but somehow still manage to be as confusing as IKEA instructions. The Earned Income Tax Credit, or EITC, is a government program that's supposed to help low to moderate income workers by putting money back in their pockets. Basically, it's like the government saying, hey, you worked hard this year. Here's a little cash. But unlike a normal, sane bonus system, the amount you get depends on a formula so complex that it makes even NASA engineers nervous. That's because the EITC doesn't just give you a flat amount. It changes based on how much you earn, how many kids you have, and probably the alignment of the planets when you file your taxes. And the most important thing to know is that at a certain point, earning more money can actually reduce your EITC amount. Then there's the Child Tax Credit, or CTC, which is meant to help parents afford the deeply unreasonable cost of raising children. Because, fun fact, kids are expensive. And not in the fun, I just bought a yacht way, but in the why does daycare cost more than my mortgage way. Before 2021, the CTC was already around, but in kind of a half-hearted way. Then, during the pandemic, it got expanded to give parents up to $3,600 per kid, and it was sent out in monthly payments. And it worked. Child poverty dropped by 46%, which is amazing. But then, in 2022, Congress said, you know what would be even better? Undoing all of that. And just like that, the expanded CTC was gone. These credits are proven to help families. The expanded CTC alone lifted 3 million kids out of poverty. That's the population of Utah. We were making big improvements in the lives of our most vulnerable citizens. And then Congress said, nah. And here's the kicker. These tax credits don't just benefit the people who get them. Studies show they boost the entire economy because low-income families spend that money on groceries, rent, or, if they're feeling particularly ambitious, childcare that doesn't require selling a kidney. So, if these programs work so well, why don't we expand them? Well, it's complicated, and I mean that literally. The EITC alone is so complicated that 20% of eligible people don't even claim it. And then, of course, there are politicians who insist that expanding these credits is just too expensive. Meanwhile, we somehow find room in the budget for tax breaks on yachts. Because, of course, America's wealthiest 1% really need that extra help to afford their emergency backup jet ski. If we wanted to actually help working families, we could permanently expand the child tax credit and simplify the EITC so that people don't need a PhD in advanced bureaucratic nonsense to claim it. But that would require Congress to actually do something useful, which, let's be honest, hasn't been their strength recently. But there is some hope, because in addition to the federal tax credits, there are state tax credits too. Refundable child tax credits at the state level have long been a policy favorite of Democrats, but now it's being courted by Republican states, in particular Ohio and Indiana. Currently, all 11 states with refundable child tax credits are under Democratic control, and conservatives have pushed against this for decades. So, seeing Republican states like Ohio and Indiana jump on this bandwagon is kind of like spotting a vegan at a barbecue festival. Unexpected, but increasingly common. First, let's talk about Ohio. Republican Governor Mike DeWine has proposed a refundable tax credit of up to $1,000 per child. The catch? It's funded by increasing tobacco taxes. So, in essence, smoke 'em if you got 'em, because your bad habit is now financing someone else's childcare. Not to be outdone, Indiana's state senate has greenlit a bipartisan plan offering a $500 refundable tax credit to families with newborns. If these measures pass, they'll be the first instances of states led by the GOP implementing refundable child tax credits. It's like watching your cat and dog become best friends. Unexpected, but heartwarming. Now, let's talk about the magic word here, refundable. All these credits we're talking about are refundable. That means that even families with little or no income tax liability can receive the full benefit. This approach gained traction after the pandemic-era expansion of the federal child tax credit, which temporarily lifted millions of children out of poverty before, as I mentioned earlier, Congress let it expire in 2021. In Indiana, the proposed credit would include parents who recently adopted or have children under the age of 1, with eligibility extending to families earning up to about $191,000 for a family of 3. Republican State Senator Greg Walker, the bill's sponsor, envisions this as a, quote, baby step toward broader support for families. Yes, he just couldn't resist making that pun. Walker also points out that this credit would help lower-income families who, thanks to Indiana's flat income tax rate, often pay a higher proportion of their earnings in taxes. In Ohio, Governor DeWine emphasizes the bipartisan nature of his proposal, saying, "This is not a liberal or conservative proposal." It's a refreshing sentiment in today's polarized climate, suggesting that perhaps we can all agree on at least one thing: babies are expensive. So, if you take one thing from this video, let it be this. The EITC and CTC are two of the most effective poverty-fighting programs we have, and yet we often treat them like an afterthought. Maybe, just maybe, we should put these programs to actual good use.